We got way more info about Ghost Recon Breakpoint after the reveal that happened recently. As I mentioned in my big preview video, I was able to play the game and got an extensive presentation and interview before the game was revealed as well. So I asked you to leave some questions under that big video that I want to answer right now. I only played 15 minutes though, but I will try and give an answer as good as possible. And I also collected a ton of info from around the web that I want to go over in this video as well. So let's get into it. Would be awesome if you could leave a like on the video as it shows your support, and let's go. And by the way, kicking off my giveaway for the Ghost Recon Breakpoint Ultimate Edition of the game right now for your platform of choice. This edition includes the 1-year pass, 3 days early access, a bonus mission, and also in-game items. All you need to do is follow the link in the pinned comment and be sure you are subscribed to the channel as well before you enter. So let's start with some of the biggest questions that people had after the reveal, and that is how similar this game is to Ghost Recon Wildlands. So as you know, this is a direct sequel to Wildlands. It takes place after Wildlands, so you could say that the two are pretty similar. I think the best way to describe it is that Breakpoint just builds a lot on Wildlands and adds way more depth to it. One way is of course via the injury system that they during the post show of their live stream went way more in depth on. There are namely 3 different tiers of injuries that you can get after getting hit, so when you're close to dying as well. The first tier will reduce your stamina so you can't run that long anymore, etc. The second tier will make you limp heavily and let you start bleeding, and now aiming will be more difficult as well. And with the third tier of an injury, you stop running, can only stumble and are limping, and you can only use a handgun to protect yourself. So you want to heal yourself up by finding a safe spot and using bandages. So that is a major difference, of course, compared to Wildlands. Just like some other cool additions, I already showed you this one in action in my previous video. And now we actually learned some more about this prone camo, namely that it's available from the beginning of the game and that you can use it in the many different environments, like in the snow, with leaves, and in the sand as well. The new breaching kit, however, is an unlockable item, so you need to get it in order to be able to cut through fences, so you will not be able to do that from the get-go. Are you able to jump or roll was a question I saw a lot, but I don't think that that's possible. We haven't seen it in the gameplay that Ubisoft released, and I don't think that I was able to do it while playing as well. Like, I'm not 100% sure, but I think that we are not able to do it, just like in Wildlands. People ask about the takedowns that we already got some footage of. They look really cool, and how it actually works is that you now have a melee weapon slot for either a fixed knife or a karambit. And the takedown will change depending on the weapon that you have equipped. And interrogations are back, by the way, in this game to gain intel on the locations that you need to go. But for the takedown animations, it depends on if you are in stealth or active combat, how you approach the target. So are you going from the back or the front, jumping out of a bush, or from the prone camo, for example. And they also mentioned the ability to customize your melee weapon with different skins you will then see when performing the takedowns as well. When comparing both Wildlands and Breakpoint, a ton of people were also wondering about the map size, obviously. And during the post show of the reveal stream, they said that the Breakpoint map will be as big as the full map of Wildlands. But then on the PlayStation blog, we actually have them say that the map is significantly bigger than Wildlands. I just think that overall that you really should not worry that this game is smaller than Wildlands, but likely bigger with way more ways to customize your character in terms of look and in terms of gear as well. Yes, you can now also pick the blouse boots as they showed in the reveal stream. So right now it looks like gear will have an impact on your look, but also on your stats. In my preview video, I already noted that I looted a blue cap from an enemy with some stats on it. I could not take a look at the stats, but now we got a PC Games and also noting that they picked up a greenish glow PP1901 gun. So while my item was the blue rarity, they likely got a lower rarity, the green one. And we now learned, thanks to Windows Central, that there will be 5 different levels of rarity in the game for gear. So some pretty standard RPG stuff, and like I said in my preview video as well, that is the direction that Ubisoft seems to go. Although they did stress multiple times that it's a military shooter. when shooting an enemy to the head, it will die. And I did experience that during my play session, but that was only when fighting the regular enemies. They detailed 3 of them during the post-show as well, also noting that the AI should be way better now than in Wildlands. Like, hard to say after my small session, but what they noted is that the enemies will now work together more to take you down and stalk your lost known position, and they will then investigate that as well, instead of like directly knowing where you are when they spotted you once. So you should be able to make use of that lost known position as well, and then maybe flank the enemies. There will also be a radio caller that will ask for reinforcements, but if you take it out before it can call, then it will save you a ton of extra enemies. And speaking of enemies, we of course have the wolves, ex-ghosts that have gone rogue, that are now hunting you on this island, but they also got help from private military contractors that they hired to defend facilities, for example. We got the rocket gunner, that is basically a sniper enemy, but with a rocket launcher instead of a sniper. So if you're hiding behind weak cover, then it will blow that up, so you have to move. To take it out, you want to shoot on the ammo backpack, because that seems to be the weak point of this enemy. We got the breacher that is more aggressive and will come at you with a shotgun and use flash grenades as well. They touched on the heavy armed behemoth soldier that can easily take you out with his minigun, so you want to flank it or aim for the head to take it out. Not sure if 1 bullet to the head is enough for this enemy. I'm sure that it takes way more bullets if you want to shoot it in the chest, but you also of course have the many drones in this game that will totally require multiple bullets before they drop. So it will be interesting to see how this RPG system works and how they will maintain the true Ghost Recon feel as well, while also having the feeling that you are progressing and are getting better over time. It's really hard to say right now. Maybe they don't touch on increased damage stats, but are more focused on reload speed, on increased handling. We will find out likely at E3. What I did learn though is that there will be these points of interest in the world. During the presentation that I got in Paris, they showed them going into a building and there was a chest inside with some loot. So there will be more of these sort of cabins with loot inside, but there are also other events that randomly occur in the world. Another point of interest is the wild mysteries, where you have to explore and find out what happened in this place of the world. It might be historical stuff. So that kind of sounds like a puzzle that you need to complete in order to get the loot at the end. They mentioned drone arenas, so big areas where you will likely encounter bigger versions of the drones from Skeltech. So the idea is that you will totally be pushed to explore and are rewarded with gear for doing so. And I really like the sound of that. We will likely see way more of this at E3. I'm not sure how the gear with the stats impacts one of the classes that you pick. I think that the gear is just for all the characters, and then the classes will have a separate progression system. Like, we already know that that is the case, as I told you in my previous preview video. By doing challenges, you will unlock new special passive perks for the class that you are playing. And we now learned a little bit more about 2 of the 4 classes that will be available at launch. I actually think that the third one is going to be the assault character, so likely just your regular run and gun class. We really don't have any info on that, but we did learn some more about the sharpshooter class that is really all about snipers, but I still think that other classes are able to get snipers as well. So the sharpshooter can load 3 special bullets in the magazine that deal extra damage to the enemies, so this sounds really like a drone killing machine to do heavy damage onto one target. Other perks that this class will have is that it's being able to hold breath for longer and has more stability while aiming. They also mentioned faster reloads for the long range weapons, so they can faster take out multiple enemies. Then we got the Panther class, the Master of Infiltration, the class that I will likely play the most, because this one is really about getting up close and performing stealth attacks. If you get spotted though, you can use your smoke bomb to have a few seconds to disappear, and then the enemies will not be able to see you during that time. This class will not have access to loud or heavy weapons, but they are harder to detect, move faster, and have no damage reduction when using a suppressor. And that is insane, because I think it means that you can use a suppressor all the time without having the disadvantages. I'm not sure why the Panther in the game gameplay that Ubisoft released does not have a silencer for that reason, but we will likely find out later. You can, by the way, switch between classes at any point by going to the bivouac, and these are sort of locations where you retreat and can, for example, heal yourself up, apply buffs to your character to increase your accuracy or get more health, for example. You can trade items between your members, for example, your harvest resources or other items like bandages. You can also see what the weather will be for the next 24 hours, so maybe use that to your advantage. There's not a lot of footage of the bivouac yet, but it looked like an awesome feature that will add more depth to the game for sure. You find the spots, by the way, all across the map, but there are also characters in the world that will tell you where to find them. So yes, it has some extra features when playing in co-op, like trading items between players. But that's of course also the thing in this game. There will be no AI teammates when you play the game solo, at least at launch. And the explanation is kind of weird, saying that since you crashed alone on the island, there are no teammates. While the explanation for seeing your co-op buddies then is that there should also be other helicopters where your friends were on. So they crashed on the island as well and survived as well, but no AI teammates. It really doesn't make any sense. I simply think that they did not want to spend the resources to improve the AI teammates, because it was totally one of the critiques from Wildlands that these AI teammates were just not so smart. Just me speculating. A mod on the official Ghost Recon Reddit did note that the feedback is with the dev team regarding this, so they know that this is something that a ton of people want. I always played without the AI teammates, but I can totally see that people at least want the option. So the RPG elements are another point of discussion that we see a lot on Reddit right now. Also something that is with the dev team. Again, I think that it's hard to judge right now because of the lack of info, and I think that collecting gear and weapons could actually be pretty cool if it was done right and still maintained the Ghost Recon feel. And then the other issue, and maybe the biggest issue that people are having right now, is regarding the required online connection. And that was also a major question I saw a lot under my video. But yes, after the reveal, they confirmed that the game requires an online connection to be played. And I saw some people on Reddit saying that this was because of the shared progression between the PvP and the PvE. So you need to be online because, yeah, you take your progression from the PvE side of things to the PvP. I did not find a source for that, but it kind of makes sense, I guess. Again, the feedback is with Ubisoft right now. I don't really mind that the game needs an internet connection. I play all my games, even my single player games, with an internet connection on, but I can totally see why people want at least the option to play offline if you have a bad internet connection, because if something went wrong that you cannot really control, then you will not be able to play the game. So hopefully Ubisoft will find a way to make that possible. But right now it does not seem to be the case. So again, E3 in June, so June 10th will be the next moment we will hear a ton about Ghost Recon Breakpoint, likely get a ton of new gameplay as well. And then Gamescom in August will be all about the PvP reveal, then we got a beta as well, and then it's October 4th before you know it. I'll be going to both shows and give you all the new gameplay and info that you want to know about here on the channel. So totally subscribe to stay up to date on everything Ghost Recon Breakpoint. Again, I have a giveaway for the Ultimate Edition in the pinned comment. A like on the video would be super appreciated. And check out my big hands-on preview if you haven't already. For now, I'll speak to you next time and goodbye.